Hi, I'm Jennifer Pollard, Chief Operating Officer with TMASF Connects. I'm joined by TMASF Connects staff member Jeff Lee, Program Director. Today, we are discussing the efforts of WETA to offer a transit option that builds on the legacy of commuter transportation and reflects the best practices refined during the COVID-19 pandemic. TMASF Connects has supported the use of public transportation services in the Bay Area and its benefits for the past 30 years. We are a privately funded nonprofit that promotes alternatives to driving alone. Our goal in this interview series is to explore and highlight the efforts that WETA is undertaking to offer safe and reliable transportation for the returning commuter. We'd like to welcome and thank Thomas Hall, WETA's Public Information and Marketing Manager, for taking the time to talk with us today.
Thank you, Jennifer.
So Thomas, are there any WETA resources that you would like to highlight for people who are assessing a return to commuting?
Absolutely. We have a rider guide that we would love people to check out that answers basically any question you could imagine about riding the ferry. It tells you the steps you need to take to become a new ferry rider. It's easier than it seems. It can be intimidating, I think, for anyone. People find it much easier to get into a car and drive to a place and then figure out parking and everything. That seems simple and intuitive because it's what a lot of us do in our day-to-day. And certainly during the pandemic, for anywhere we had to go, I think a lot of people felt most comfortable in an enclosed personal environment, right? A kind of a personal steel bubble to drive around. And so it can be intimidating. We try to make it as easy as possible. If you show up to a ferry terminal before the departure time and you have any questions about tickets or fares or whatever, we'll be there to help you. So just check out our schedule, see when it leaves and where it's taking you. Most of our trips go to downtown San Francisco. If you're a new commuter and you work in downtown San Francisco and you're going, 1 day a week, 2 days a week, 5 days a week, just check out the schedule, see what works for you. Look at our route map. Ask us questions. We're here to answer questions too. You're not going to get a robot responding to you. You're going to get a real answer about stuff. So reach out to us. We're here to help. Check out our rider guide, which is on sanfranciscobayferry.com in the top navigation. You'll be able to find it there. It should lay out exactly what you need to be able to become a new ferry rider. And then also make sure you grab a book or something to do on the ferry because it's super relaxing. You're not going to just be a stress ball checking your email on the ferry unless that's your preference. It's a really kind of chill time. We heard from people during the pandemic, and I'm not sure that anyone else heard from people like this, but they were legitimately, one of the things I missed the most about not commuting anymore is my commute, right? They had friends on the ferry. It was their time to unwind. It was their time to read, have a drink, catch up on work. We do have Wi-Fi available as well. Catch up on Netflix or shows or whatever, because that's something that a lot of people on the ferry do. People missed it, and so definitely prepare yourself for that. It's not a typical commute. You're not going to be white knuckling your steering wheel, getting mad at everyone else on the freeway. You're not going to be concerned about your safety at all, anything like that. It's going to be a great time. So we really encourage people to try it out.
Now, as a ferry rider, is the Wi-Fi free on all the routes?
It is, and we're working on improving the Wi-Fi as well. It could be a little dodgy in the past. There are some dead spots in the Bay, and some of our basic equipment on that was not up to snuff. We've realized we need to improve that. We asked our passengers about it in a recent survey, and they, half the passengers didn't know about Wi-Fi, and the ones that did weren't too pleased with it. Consistently, that's one of the issues people say they had with the ferry when we ask about passenger satisfaction. Everything is great. The Wi-Fi is not so good. So we've worked on technological upgrades, and coverage in the Bay has gotten better for cell networks, for data networks. So we're comfortable that within a few months, it'll be a much better experience for passengers.
And just so for people who are also thinking about coming back, is the snack bar / coffee area, is that now open on all the boats?
So we are for afternoon / evening runs. We're open on most routes. There's been some staffing issues that our concessionaire has had We don't staff it directly. We don't manage the bars. We also don't get any of the money from it. So our third party concessionaire is working on staffing up with the labor market, what it is, of course, and with COVID still creating issues around the Bay and the world. Staffing has been an issue. So typically, if you're on an Alameda seaplane or an Oakland run on weekday afternoons or evenings, a Vallejo run on afternoons or evenings, or any of our weekend or sports service, there should be concessions available. We don't have any morning service currently. So you're going to have to get your coffee either at Panama Bay Coffee in Vallejo or at Red Bay Coffee in San Francisco or Phil's or somewhere like that. So in the mornings, we're not covered at all, but we are covered on those routes in the afternoons, weekends, and sports service. And then we're working on adding in Richmond and Harbor Bay as well. That's going to be a little more spotty for the next couple of months as we work with our concessionaire to get them staffed up. But the long-term vision is to bring it back.
Oh, I do remember, that was like you said, it's one of the things you do miss. You miss your friends, the social time you had for your route coming home, reading a book, enjoying a glass of wine. So that's always something you're like, oh, wow, I forgot all about all that time I had.
It's hard to enjoy a full IPA on your walk from your home office to your couch.
One other question I want to have, are there any upcoming new projects? I know you have a new boat out. Would you like to just kind of share with our members?
Yeah, we're super excited to have debuted MV Dorado, which is our newest boat that went into service in June. And so it's out there. We're rotating it around the service, so all of our passengers get the opportunity to ride it. Long term, it'll probably be on our Vallejo route. It's a really fast boat. That's sort of the top bullet point from it is it's our fastest boat in the service. So obviously Vallejo is our longest route, so it makes good sense there. It's also our most versatile boat. So it's the only boat in our service that can handle every route. It's fast enough to do Vallejo in an hour. It's also small and nimble enough to fit in at South San Francisco and Harbor Bay, which are older terminals that are a little tricky to navigate into. We can't get our biggest boats in there. So this is another option for us to be able to use at those terminals. It provides us a good bit of flexibility. The third thing is there's amazing outdoor space on it. We've sort of termed it the selfie deck, where there's just a bunch of outdoor space on the upper deck where people can go out there and, whether you're a weathered commuter who's been riding for 20 years or you're a tourist visiting the Bay Area for the first time, you still want to get out there and sometimes get a photo of that great sunset, with the bridge and the San Francisco skyline and everything. So it's a great space for that. And of course, with COVID concerns, having lots of seating outdoors is important. So we do have that available. There's going to be 3 more boats just like it coming over the next few years. The next one should arrive in early 2023. Its name is MV Delphinus. So that's the next boat coming. It'll be pretty similar to MV Dorado, which you can experience this summer whenever you ride the ferry. The other thing that I want to mention is that we're working hard on transitioning to zero emissions. That's the next frontier of ferry service in the Bay Area, is converting our ferries to battery electric. There may be other alternative fuels that become available and become feasible for our service. Right. Our San Francisco Clean Ferry Short Hop Network in 2024, and that would connect Treasure Island, downtown San Francisco, and Mission Bay. A lot of commuters in Mission Bay want ferry access outside of just Chase Center events. And so we're working hard to try to deliver that in the next couple of years with a completely zero emission ferry that would connect to downtown San Francisco. So no matter where you're coming from in the East Bay or the North Bay by ferry, you can just walk across the dock and jump on a clean zero emission ferry to get you to Mission Bay or Treasure Island. And then that network could potentially be built out further. We'd also be converting some of our existing ferries. So if you're a ferry rider and MV Hydrus or Carina or Cetus or Argo, those are in the plans to be converted to electric in the next 10 or so years. So it's not just building new electric boats and retiring our current ones, but it's also converting some of our existing boats to zero emission. So that's something we're really excited about. We're working really hard internally and with our project partners to become a reality.
So that wraps it up for our conversation with Wida. Thank you once again, Thomas Halls Weedus, Public Information and Marketing Manager, for taking the time to answer our questions. And thank you, Jeff, for joining me today as well.
Thanks, Thomas.
Thank you.